According to Wikipedia, Florida is the most popular travel destination in the world. How true that is, I don't know. What I do know, however, is that when the new GTA is finally released, which is set to take place in Florida, there will definitely be a lot of truth to that. In today's episode, I invite you to discover 10 curiosities about Florida. Number 10. Florida owes its name to the Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon, who arrived on its shores in 1513. Delighted by the sight of flowers blooming everywhere, the sailor named it La Florida, in honor of Pascua Florida, one of the Spanish names for Easter. Pascua means Easter, while Florida refers to something floral, full of flowers. It is said that the explorer was searching for the so-called Fountain of Youth in what is now Florida, a mythical source of magical water that, when drunk, makes a person young again. The site where the explorer arrived is now home to the Fountain of Youth Archaeological Park. And apparently, people still believe in regaining their youth in Florida to this day, as it is currently the most popular destination for American retirees and the state with the second highest percentage of residents aged 65 and older. Number 9. Florida is the largest producer of oranges in the United States. In fact, 70% of all American oranges come from there. So, if you've ever wondered why Florida license plates feature oranges, now you know. For roughly the same reason, peaches appear on Georgia's license plates. The orange has been Florida's official fruit since 2005. However, that's nothing compared to the orange blossom, which has been the state's official flower since 1909. Over 95% of all oranges from Florida are processed into juice. This explains why, since 1967, the official beverage of Florida has been orange juice. Yes, Florida has a lot of official symbols. Number 8. Florida's official nickname is the Sunshine State. It's interesting that fate had it that the first sunscreen was invented in Florida in 1944, in Miami Beach, not to be confused with Miami, as they are two different cities. It was invented by pharmacist and Air Force aviator Benjamin Green. Everything was done to protect American soldiers stationed in the tropical regions of the Pacific, particularly those exposed to the harmful effects of sunlight. He named his product Red Veterinary Petroleum Jelly, as it was this red ointment, which was used at the time to treat animals after they were burned, that served as the base for his first sunscreen. Number 7. What a coincidence that Florida is also where the first air conditioner, ice maker, and at least their prototypes were invented. The first cooling device was patented in 1851 by a Florida doctor named John Gorey. Originally, it was used to make ice to cool down his patients with tropical fever. And although it wasn't air conditioning or an ice maker in the modern sense of the words, especially since there was no electricity at the time, and the machine had to be powered by wine, steam, or even a horse, especially since there was no electricity at the time, and the machine had to be powered by wine, steam, or even a horse. Number 6. Did you know that Gatorade, the largest and most popular sports drink in the world, was indirectly named after the alligators in Florida? The drink was created in 1965 by scientists at the University of Florida to help local athletes stay hydrated and replenish electrolytes lost during physical exertion. The drink was named after the university's sports team, the Florida Gators. Gators is short for alligators, the animals for which the state of Florida is famously known. In other words, if Gatorade hadn't been invented in Florida, where alligators roam as if they own the place, it most likely wouldn't have been called that at all. Number 5. In 1982, the southernmost city in Florida, Key West, declared its independence from the rest of the United States as the country public, or the Republic of Conch. The Declaration of Independence was a form of protest against traffic disruptions caused by the blockade of the U.S. Route 1 interstate highway. At that time, the Border Patrol was stopping every vehicle heading north toward the continental United States, even forcing native residents to prove they were U.S. citizens. The country public even declared war on the United States at one point, but surrendered just a minute later, demanding $1 billion in war reparations from the U.S. government. The main reason for the protest was the negative impact of the road blockade on tourism, which was the primary sector of the economy in Key West. Ironically, today, souvenirs related to those events, such as the country public flag or T-shirts with its emblems, are among the most popular tourist souvenirs in Key West. Every year, the Independence Day of the Republic of Conch is also celebrated, attracting tens of thousands of tourists and becoming one of the main tourist attractions in Florida. As a fun fact, Key West has more bars per capita than any other city in the US, which, by the way, would explain a lot. To declare independence from the rest of the country, you really need a lot of bars around. Number 4. Florida is also the site of the world's first commercial passenger flight. In 1914, an airplane, or rather a flying boat, took off from St. Petersburg and landed 23 minutes later, 34 kilometers away, in Tampa. The aircraft of the St. Petersburg-Tampa airboat line flew at a very low altitude, usually not exceeding 15 to 30 meters above the water. However, upon special request 10 for an additional fee, the pilot would raise it to several hundred meters. At that time, the ticket cost $5 per person, which would be about $157 in today's money. Number 3. Of course, no list like this would be complete without the iconic Florida Man. Florida Man, a meme that gained popularity in 2013, refers to the alleged tendency of Florida residents to engage in irrational or bizarre behavior. The proof of this is said to be the countless news articles about strange crimes and other incidents taking place in Florida. These stories often begin with the words Florida Man. However, according to journalists from the Miami New Times, Florida Man is somewhat of a manipulation. The large number of strange reports from Florida is said to stem from the exceptionally easy access to public records. No other state in the US allows journalists such easy access to arrest records as Florida does. As the author suggests, strange things likely happen in places like Alabama too, where Florida might seem like amateurs. However, without the factors such as easy access to public records, Alabama Man wouldn't have the same chance to make a splash. The article concludes with the following sentence: so maybe next time you read a strange story from Florida, don't ask why Florida is so weird. Ask why you don't hear about the oddities in other states. It may have something to do with the lack of access to information. Number 2. Did you know that Florida is the only US state with its own embassy in the capital, Washington, D.C.? It is located on Capitol Hill, right behind the Capitol, which is the American Parliament. At the Florida House, commonly known as the Florida Embassy, you won't be able to obtain a visa for Florida. The embassy serves more as an information center. It provides space for meetings, educational activities, and receptions for Florida residents and other visitors to Washington. The name embassy is purely symbolic, as the place represents Florida's interests and heritage at the national level. However, it is not an official institution. The Florida Embassy is not owned by the state of Florida and is funded through private donations. Number 1. Florida is also home to the oldest European city in the United States. St. Augustine in Florida is the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement and the oldest city in the United States. It was founded in 1565 by Spanish settlers. The city was attacked by the French, but their assault was repelled thanks to a hurricane. The fort was also unsuccessfully attacked by the British. It was not until 1819 that Spain decided to relinquish the city and handed it over to the United States for $5 million. According to Wikipedia, St. Augustine is home to the oldest school in America. And let this be a cautionary tale for you not to believe everything you find on Wikipedia. For in St. Augustine, there is only the oldest wooden schoolhouse, built in 1716. The oldest school in the USA is actually located in Staten Island, New York, and was founded at least 20 years earlier. Make sure you've watched the previous episodes on FunFacts. See you in the next videos on the channel. Bye.